There's a plant so tied to the image of the Old West that it shows up in nearly every Western film ever made. It's number 7 on our list today, and the truth about where it actually came from will surprise you. You've probably heard the name Jesse James your whole life, a Robin Hood of the frontier who stole from the rich and gave to the poor. Number 4 on our list takes that story apart piece by piece. And number 8, the lone cowboy riding solo into the sunset. That picture is one of the biggest lies Hollywood ever told. Hollywood has been selling us a version of the Wild West for over 100 years. Some of it is close to the truth, most of it isn't. Here are 12 more so-called facts that were made up for the movies. Number 12, the whiskey surgery. If you've ever watched a Western where a doctor pours whiskey on a wound and hands the patient a bullet to bite on, you've been watching a scene that simply didn't happen. By the 1870s and 1880s, frontier doctors weren't working in the dark. Chloroform and ether were widely used as real anesthetics, even in remote areas. Many of these doctors were veterans of the Civil War who had seen more trauma in a few years than most surgeons see in a lifetime. They knew how to operate, and they knew how to keep things clean. The real killers out west weren't bullets. They were cholera, smallpox, and pneumonia, diseases that no amount of skill could stop until antibiotics came along decades later. Number 11, the buffalo hunt as sport. The movies love to show buffalo hunting as something lazy and casual, a bored rich man taking shots from a train window. The real story is far darker and far more calculated than that. Between 1871 and 1883, the slaughter of the American bison was an industrial operation. Tanners in Germany and England had figured out how to turn buffalo hides into drive belts for factory machines and soles for army boots. Before that discovery, a hide was worth almost nothing. After it, hides were fetching $2 to $3 each, which doesn't sound like much until you know a cowboy earned $30 a month. Professional hunters used heavy Sharps rifles to drop hundreds of animals from a single position, sometimes from 600 yards away, leaving the meat to rot in the sun. By 1889, a herd that once numbered 30 million had been reduced to around 541 animals. Number 10, the lone cowboy. Riding alone, answering to no one, the cowboy as a solo figure is one of Hollywood's favorite images. In reality, cattle drives were organized labor operations. A crew of 10 to 15 men ran each drive, and every man had a specific job. The trail boss handled the money and the decisions. The foreman kept the crew in line. Point riders steered the lead cattle. Swing and flank riders kept the herd tight. At the back, the drag riders ate the dust kicked up by hundreds of hooves all day long. That job usually went to the newest man. The cook drove the chuck wagon and was often the most valued person in the outfit, because a crew that eats well keeps moving. These men shared blankets called sugans and worked 18-hour days. Loners didn't last long out there. Number 9, the six-shooter. Hollywood gunslingers fire round after round without missing a beat and hit their target from 50 yards at a full gallop. The real Colt single-action Army revolver, the gun of the era, was heavy, slow to reload, and famous for going off by accident if it was dropped. Cowboys developed what was called the 5-bean row, loading only 5 of the 6 chambers and resting the hammer on the empty one so the gun wouldn't fire if it hit the ground. Ammunition cost real money, too. In the 1880s, a box of 50 cartridges ran about $1, which was roughly a full day's wages for a ranch hand. Most cowboys carried a rifle or shotgun as their main weapon because those were accurate, practical, and far better for hunting. Number 8, communal life on the trail. Think about the last road trip you took with a group of people. Now imagine doing that for 3 months, sleeping on the ground, in the same clothes, sharing one blanket. That's closer to what trail life actually looked like, and the men who lived it built something real together because of it. Number 7, the tumbleweed. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more iconic symbol of the Old West than a tumbleweed rolling across a dusty street. There's just one problem. Tumbleweeds weren't in America during most of the frontier era. The Russian thistle, the plant we call a tumbleweed, arrived in the United States in 1873 when a shipment of flaxseed from Russia was planted in South Dakota. It wasn't there for the gold rushes. It wasn't there for the early cattle drives. It was an accidental import, and once it arrived, it spread up to 100 miles in a single season. Towns were already fading into ghost towns by the time tumbleweeds were common enough to roll through them. The whole image was created after the fact. Number 6. Gun laws in the Wild West. The Wild West of the movies is a place where everyone walks around armed and disputes get settled in the street. Dodge City, Tombstone, and Abilene, the towns most famous for being rough, all had strict gun laws. In Dodge City in the late 1870s, there was a physical line in the ground called the dead line, the railroad tracks. North of the tracks, guns were banned. South of them, you could carry. In Tombstone, an 1881 ordinance required every visitor to check their firearm at a hotel or the marshal's office when they arrived, like a coat check. These laws were pushed by local business owners who wanted to attract families and Eastern money. A town known for shootings didn't draw investors. Wyatt Earp and Bat Masterson weren't hired as heroes. They were hired as security for the town's economy. Number 5. The real gunfight. A quiet street, two men facing each other, waiting for noon. It's in dozens of movies. It almost never happened in real life. Actual gunfights in the Old West were chaotic, sudden, and usually took place at close range inside dark saloons after too much drinking and a bad hand of cards. Most deaths came from ambush, where one man had the advantage before the other one knew what was happening. Homicide rates in places like Bodie, California, were real, about 1.6 deaths per 1,000 residents. But that violence was concentrated among a small group of young, single-armed men. For most people living in frontier towns, the day-to-day was far more orderly than the movies suggest. Property crime was actually lower than in many American cities today. Number 4. Jesse James. Jesse James has been painted as a man of the people, a bandit who took from the wealthy and gave to those who had nothing. That story was invented by a newspaper editor named John Newman Edwards, who wanted to use James as a symbol of Southern defiance during Reconstruction. There is no confirmed record of Jesse James ever giving a single dollar to anyone outside his own gang and family. James was a former Confederate guerrilla who targeted banks and railroads because he hated anyone he associated with the Union. His gang killed innocent people, including a young bank clerk in Northfield, Minnesota, during a robbery that went wrong. That killing turned the town against them, and the townspeople took the gang apart themselves. The Robin Hood version made for a better story. The real version made for a harder one. Number 3. The Cowboy's true identity. The cowboy in the movies is almost always the same, white, Anglo-American, riding alone under a wide open sky. The actual cowboys who built the cattle industry looked nothing like that. Historians put the number of black cowboys at around 25% of the total workforce, many of them former slaves or the sons of freed men who headed west because the range rewarded skill. Up to a third of cowboys were Mexican vaqueros, men whose families had been managing horses and cattle in Texas and California long before Anglo-Americans arrived. The very language of the cowboy comes from Spanish. Lariat comes from la reata. Chaps come from chaparreras. The word buckaroo is a corruption of vaquero. The industry was built on the knowledge of men who rarely made it into the films made about them. Number 2. The cowboy hat. Here is something that will change the way you watch every Western you've ever seen. The tall, creased Stetson that every cowboy wears in the movies was not the hat of the working West. The most common hat on the frontier was the bowler, the rounded derby hat. It was designed in London for gamekeepers who needed something durable that wouldn't get knocked off while riding through low branches. Cowboys adopted it for the same reason. It stayed on in the wind. It held up in the rain. John B. Stetson introduced his Boss of the Plains hat in 1865, but the original version had a rounded top and a flat brim, nothing like the creased cattleman hats you see today. The image of the Stetson was shaped by Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, which opened in 1883 and used dramatic costumes to signal character types to large crowds. By the time the creased Stetson became the symbol of the cowboy, the open range was already gone. There's something worth pausing on here. The men doing this work, driving cattle across hundreds of miles of open country, weren't thinking about how they looked in a film. They were thinking about the next water source, the next meal, whether the weather would hold. The legend came later. The work came first. Number 1, the bank robbery. If there is one scene that defines the Wild West in the movies, it's the bank robbery. A gang rides into town, shoots the place up, cracks the safe, and rides out with the money. It almost never happened. Researchers Larry Schweikart and Lynn Doty found fewer than 8 confirmed bank robberies across 15 western states during the entire frontier period from 1859 to 1900. Modern cities regularly see more bank robberies in a single year than the entire Old West saw in 4 decades. The reasons are simple and practical. Banks were built in the center of town, surrounded by businesses and armed residents who had their own money inside. The safes of the era were built in a sphere shape made of hardened iron, and the round design spread the force of any explosion so evenly that dynamite had almost no effect. The safe was also far too heavy to move without a wagon, which would have been noticed immediately. Outlaws like the James Younger gang eventually figured out that trains and stagecoaches, stopped far from town in open country, were far easier targets. The bank robbery became the symbol of the Wild West because it made for a dramatic scene. The real frontier criminals knew better. The West was real, but the version most of us grew up watching was built for an audience, not for the record. The men and women who actually lived it were skilled, diverse, and practical people who faced real danger every day without a script. What Hollywood sold us was a costume. Think back on everything you just heard and ask yourself, which of these surprised you the most? Leave it in the comments. The ones that caught you off guard are worth talking about, and I'd genuinely like to know which piece of this story hit you differently.